How's it going, friends? Right now we're at 50th and France, and that's because today's video we're talking about Edina, Minnesota. Edina is one of the most sought after, most desirable suburbs for a lot of reasons in all of the Twin Cities. This is one taste of it. Edina has a lot of variety to it. It's an old suburb. You have this more sort of closer to city feeling vibes, and you have like ultimate mega luxury suburb vibes as well. Let's dive in. How's it going, friends? My name is Jesse Lynch and I run the hardest working real estate team in the game. We're called To the Twin Cities, and you can check out our website, tothetwincities.com. But this YouTube channel is all about helping you find the right home if you're a buyer, and the right buyer if you're a seller here in the Twin Cities, the right neighborhood if you're a buyer or a relocator. That's what we do, and that's what we do better than anybody else. So if that appeals to you, then do me a favor, do yourself a favor, subscribe to this channel, click the bell to get notified so you can see every time we put videos like this one out. If that sounds interesting to you, then do me a favor, do yourself a favor, subscribe to the channel, click the bell to get notified, and give the video a thumbs up if you wouldn't while I have you here. I would appreciate that very much. And of course, by all means, if you're interested in working with us, go to our website, tothetwincities.com. We have a contact form there that you can fill out in like 30 seconds or less, or you can shoot us an email directly to info@tothetwincities.com. They lead to the same inbox, so whatever. However you want to do it, totally up to you. We'll make it happen. We're good at this. Right now, where I stand is basically between two of the more high-end malls in anywhere in Minnesota. Right over here is Southdale. Right behind me is Galleria. Galleria, definitely much more in that high-end, in that luxury side of things, but Southdale, very, very nice as well. They have a restoration hardware back here, as well as like a full gigantic mall. And then the Galleria is definitely, without a doubt, the most high-end, mall or selection of stores. Pretty much anywhere in the Twin Cities. Right down that way is France Avenue. Just over here is York Avenue. And right over here, probably the nicest Target you'll ever see in your life. And France is absolutely loaded with just so much commercial stuff. I'm pretty excited to share this with you. I'm about to go meet up with Steve from the team. We're gonna dive into this, dive a little deeper, just tell you what's going on.
Now we are in Bresden Park, which is a very large park. It's kind of more or less centrally located in Edina. And when I think about Edina, some of the first things that come to mind, first tier suburb, so very close to the city, which means that it is kind of an older, suburb, older area of the Twin Cities. Definitely top tier schools. One of the biggest things, one of the biggest draws to Edina is definitely the quality of the schools, the public school system here.
The rankings, yeah.
Absolutely. And with that comes a higher median sale price, right? You are going to see some luxury homes in Edina, some that you wouldn't find in other areas of the Twin Cities for sure, and just like a generally relatively high median sale price.
Yeah, and I think there's a history of affluence, right? So from the jump in the oldest homes here, they're big, they're impressive, they're beautiful, and so pretty much all over Edina, that is a through, right? You will see that over and over again in Edina, regardless of age, that they're all impressive examples of homes from a certain time.
Absolutely.
When I think of Edina, I think of it in 4 different quadrants. I talked about this in the first video that I did as well, but I think about it broken up, basically divided by Highway 100 and 62. And then there's a northeast quadrant. That's the oldest part of Edina.
Closest to Minneapolis.
Yep, right next to southwest Edina. Then there's southeast Edina, and that's more of a maybe commercially dense. That's where the mall is.
Galleria.
Yeah, Target. Like it's, and more likely to find, tall buildings in that
office
part.
buildings. I was at a title company office last week.
Yeah.
Area.
Yeah, and then you have northwest and southwest. Both are much more residential, more sprawling estates maybe.
Feels more like a suburb in my opinion.
Yeah.
The residential areas of those spots closer to, you know, like Eden Prairie, Bloomington.
Yeah, definitely suburban, and really in the top tier, the high end, the luxury style of homes, beautiful homes that we've been lucky enough to help people buy, sell, tour for the channel, things like that.
For sure.
Very, very cool areas and some really, really stunning homes. And that's across the board. Personally, I think I'm more of a northeast Edina person.
Yeah, we did Morningside
Yep.
a few months ago. Yeah, I mean, very close to Linden Hills.
I'm still a city kid, you know, like that's just kind of where I'm at in life, and I really love it. The walkability is really great, but it's undeniable. You'll see these houses in Edina with like gated drives and stuff, and it's like, okay, yeah, I could do that too. You know, they're beautiful, beautiful homes.
Why not?
And some really, really cool architecture, and very like not just impressive, but interesting architecture all
Some
throughout.
of the most consistently interesting architecture in the Twin Cities, absolutely.
Yeah,
you found in Edina.
Yeah, I mean, truly. And we're very, very conveniently located to downtown Minneapolis and even downtown St. Paul.
Close to the airport.
Pretty good, yeah. And so we're maybe 15 minutes to downtown Minneapolis with some traffic, probably, depending on where you're coming from. 20 to 25 to downtown St. Paul. 10 to 15 to the airport. Super, super convenient as far as that goes. And Edina is pretty well established. I guess that's an understatement. It's completely established. There's not much land left. It's here. People are now scraping homes, putting in new ones because the land is so desirable. The location is so prized that you can justify that.
I was gonna say, there's a video on this channel that you can watch with a extremely incredible new build
beautiful home.
But yeah, we looked up the house that was there, or the listing that was there before that was built, and yeah, it was
$900,000
for a house that was completely torn down.
Yeah, raised. Yeah, and you know, it just speaks to the desirability of it. And again, the public schools being truly in some of the top in the state and the country. Yeah, it's pretty undeniable.
Top 5.
Yeah,
pretty much throughout.
Yeah, every time I've ever looked, it's in the top 5, if not the top 3. Population here is 53,000. Probably won't be going up too dramatically anytime soon.
I wouldn't imagine, no.
It's pretty well, hey, this is a suburb, and that's what people are paying for.
Okay, if we're talking about where is Edina, where is it located within the Twin Cities? Border-wise, on the north, we've got St. Louis Park. On the east is Minneapolis and Richfield. On the south, it's really Bloomington, 494 kind of cuts that off. And then on the west side, there's Minnetonka, Hopkins, 169 kind of divides those. One of the most desirable characteristics of Edina, in my opinion, is being centrally located, which means you have really good access to the rest of the Twin Cities, specifically highway access. Highway 100, 494, 62, 169, all super easy to get on and get to wherever you need to go throughout the Twin Cities.
Yeah, and also there's just within Edina pretty much everything you would ever need. You could probably never leave the boundaries of Edina and have just about everything, except maybe, I don't know, like whatever happens downtown. You know,
skyscrapers.
Yeah. But another huge, you know, benefit, another huge contributor to prices, you know, and desirability in Edina, again, like we said, is schools. The schools in Edina are top-notch. They have been and are widely regarded for many, many reasons. According to Niche, kind of funny, we just mentioned this, according to Niche right now, 6th highest school district in Minnesota. But one of those actually in the top 5 is like a very small charter district. It's very, very small. And actually, side note, if you're watching this still, we have a whole channel that we started called Schools in the Twin Cities, where we dive super deep into just schools Our buddy Bradford,
shout out Bradford,
is doing it all. He's doing all the research. There's so much to know and so much to learn about schools in Minnesota that we started a whole channel just devoted to that. So go check that out if you haven't yet. Schools in the Twin Cities. So Edina schools, you have Edina Public School District serves the huge majority of it. A few areas are served by a couple other spots. Eden Prairie Schools, Hopkins Public Schools, and Richfield, but those are like very small corners of Edina. And Edina school, high school, very, very highly regarded high school, A+ on niche. You have pretty much A or A- or A+ throughout middle school and elementary schools all over Edina.
And there are private schools as well. I mean, there's Blake is maybe the most well-known private school in Minnesota, or at least in the Twin Cities. That's located in Edina. That's elementary, middle school, and high school. Receives an A+ from niche. No surprise there. That's a private school. There is a charter school as well, which is Eagle Ridge Academy, which is middle school and high school, but also receives an A+ from niche.
Yeah, plenty of that going on, and some, again, public, charter, private, Catholic schools too.
Yep.
Very, very, like, cream of the crop all throughout. Maybe some of the reason why it might fall down the order is because some of the facilities are older, because Edina's been around for a hot minute. It's
Good
been,
point.
One of the oldest of any of the, probably the oldest city of any of the top 5s. So, something to consider. So, the prices here. We're talking a median sale price of right around $850,000. Yeah, and I would say entry level into Edina, 600, 500?
I think it's higher than 5.
Yeah, maybe if you were on a busy road, maybe 5.
We're talking single family homes here. There are
Yeah.
going to be condo options, probably townhouses as well. But yeah, for single family homes. And to see a median sale price in Minnesota of $850 is, I mean, this is where you're not surprising where where a good portion of luxury homes are.
Yeah, tons of, and so many cool neighborhoods within Edina. Yeah, some really, really striking places. We've actually done a video where we talk about luxury suburbs, and quite a few of the spots are in Edina. Some very cool places. So definitely check that video out if you're interested in that more luxury, high-end, top-tier lifestyle. Edina's got it for sure.
In the meantime, check out some B-roll. We will be right back to chat about pros and cons.
All right, y'all, right now we are in the Dewey Hill 2 neighborhood, the sequel, and it's a beautiful neighborhood, extremely established, affluent suburb feel. Kind of feels like a movie.
Yeah.
We're
just remarking about the trees.
Yeah.
You only get in older neighborhoods. A lot of brick, a lot of cedar roofs on these homes.
Yeah, they have the cedar shake roofs and like the, really impressive fireplace and chimneys and all that stuff, as well as a lot of pools in these neighborhoods. There's like a Scarface house back there. Very cool.
There's Kevin McAllister's house.
Yeah, it's idyllic in a very interesting way. And this neighborhood is in the sort of southwest quadrant. Again, like we said, it gets more suburban, southwest, northwest, further removed from the city and all that. But it is undeniably a beautiful neighborhood.
Absolutely.
Yeah, some impressive homes, sprawling yards. Not so massive, in terms of yard, but
and the houses too. I mean, they're pretty big, but yeah, this is not quite mansion territory.
Yeah, but it depends on where you're coming from, I guess, because these are some beautiful houses. But we want to talk about pros and cons of Edina as we see it, and it's probably not a shock that there's more pros than cons. There's a reason people want to live here.
Yeah, we were kind of scratching the bottom of the barrel trying to come up with cons for Edina because it is such like a desirable and aspirational area.
Yeah, and we're not trying to like dig on it. We're not trying to like overly inflate it. Let's be as honest as we can about all this stuff, and here we are. So pro number one, the schools.
Yeah, you can't talk about Edina without mentioning the excellent schools.
Yeah, it's known for, achieving in all sorts of things, sports, education, etc. Schools, undeniably very good.
Charter schools, private schools, public schools, all levels, elementary through high school.
Again, check out the schools channel if you haven't yet. Next up, I'm gonna say the homes. Some very, very cool homes here, and a huge variety of them.
Yep.
Again, we have that that home tour video of like one of my favorite houses I've stepped foot in.
It's just incredible.
Just so cool.
Check that out.
Yeah, and then, we've helped people buy older homes in, let's say, like Morningside or something like that. There's some just such cool houses over there. Country Club, all these neighborhoods. So much variety of housing stock, but almost always the through line is that they're awesome.
Yep. One of the big pros for me is the amenities. I mean, they're really like, just name it, Edina's got it for the most part. Yeah, the nicest Target in the world.
Yeah.
Talk a lot about Targets on this channel, but yeah, check this one out for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we mentioned Southdale, Galleria, all, pretty much all.
50th in France. Yeah, there's a huge variety of the amenities, mostly suburban.
Yeah.
Even 50th in France feels pretty suburban, but also mostly high end.
For sure.
There's some modest stuff here, don't get me wrong, it definitely exists, but a lot of like a very high-end polished feel throughout Edina. But a couple thoughts on that in the cons, but yeah, it is just undeniably nice almost everywhere.
Another big pro for sure is the location. Just like within the Twin Cities, super conveniently located, centrally located, access everywhere. I mean, I kind of listed off the highways before, but yeah, close to downtown Minneapolis, close to the airport, easily get to St. Paul, Lake Minnetonka, wherever you want to go, really.
Yeah, it does have just so much going for it in terms of location. I think probably last pro that I can really think of, or that comes to mind the most, is just that it overwhelmingly feels quiet. In the neighborhoods especially, it feels very quiet, very secluded. Again, with that little bit of a high-end polish to it, to where it's like designed to be quiet, secluded, even a little bit hard to access.
Yeah, I would say that's fair.
Almost by design.
And that actually kind of leads us into the cons. So there are areas for sure that have that, like quiet, neighborhoody feel. We're in one right now, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
But you could argue that some of them are quiet to a fault. It does have kind of, in certain areas, maybe a stuffiness to it, kind of a exclusivity feeling.
Yeah.
A little bit. Edina, maybe known for that, depending on who you ask.
Yeah. There might be a reputation of that at times, and some of the areas, it's like you drive through, it feels very like people are living their lives next to each other but separately. Ultimately I think it can just have like an exclusive feel to it, and that's not for everybody. It is for some people,
right? For better or worse. It does. I think exclusive is the right word for it.
Yeah. And so on the same kind of note, next con is that it's expensive. Median sale price.
Comes with exclusivity.
Yeah, $850, and also the sale price leads to the exclusivity too. But that's easy, so we'll mostly skip over that one. For me, a couple of cons that are somewhat intertwined is, for one, neighborhoods like this, pretty common that they don't have sidewalks.
Yeah, we are right in the middle of the road right now.
Yeah, luckily it's chill, like some of the pros suggested, and it's not a big deal. But yeah, that's not a thing that a lot of people love. And then another piece is that if you look at the map, you might notice, there's a lot of green. There's not many lakes, for one.
Yeah.
And a lot of the green spaces that do exist in Edina are like golf courses, private parks, or things like that. So
kind of also leads to the exclusivity factor.
Yeah. So, some undeniable like natural beauty here, but the accessing of that isn't the best in the state, I would say.
Definitely not. Yeah, and to the lakes point, I mean, yeah, there are lakes. You can look at the map and find them, but there's not really any, you know, like go-to lakes. Like I'm gonna like come to Edina today, check out this body of water.
I think that's part of why places like Morningside or Arden Park can be sought after, is because then you're close to Harriet, Budemakaska,
for sure,
and things like that. Highway noise.
Yeah,
it's faint. You can kind of hear it right now.
Yeah, we mentioned how quiet some areas are, and that is definitely true, but we also listed off all the highways that are, you know, go through,
surrounding and through. Yeah,
because there are all those highways, you know, bordering Edina and cutting through. I mean, it can, depending on where you're located, it can be kind of loud.
Yeah, and then I think last con that we can think of is that, yes, mostly it's beautiful, it's luxury, it's high-end, but it's older, and so some of the infrastructure, whether that's park spaces, but mostly commercial is really what comes to mind.
Yeah,
some of that can be kind of ugly,
a little tired. We drove by, you know, some strip malls. They're like, oh, this was definitely, you know, built in the 60s or 70s, and it hasn't been updated much since then. Yeah,
and so, you know, you do have, you know, the luxury high-end aspects of it, but even driving into this neighborhood, you're going by industrial, you know, warehouses and things like that. So
again, just in certain spots. I mean, it's kind of a mix of all of it. I would say for the most part, it's closer to, you know,
luxury. High-end. But you know, this feels maybe like a little bit nitpicky, but it's also real. You know?
Undeniably noticeable.
All right, we're gonna hop over somewhere else, talk through for fans of, if you like what you see here in Edina, what are some other places that you might want to consider? Okay, and now I am in Todd Park. By the way, Steve had to go to a showing. These videos take a long time, so here I am alone. Thank you, Steve. This is Todd Park, of course, in Edina. A great, like, neighborhood, sort of municipal park feel. Really nice basketball court, first of all, and then a fairly modest baseball diamond, if you still call them that, and then tennis courts over there as well. Great walking paths. You can park here and take a trail to Meadowbrook Lake, which is also namesake of a golf course over here. Just a very nice park, very well manicured, but like we mentioned in regards to the infrastructure, kind of no frills, right? That's not like the craziest baseball diamond ever. Not the craziest tennis courts ever, but very nice, certainly usable, and great to have like tucked into the neighborhood like it is. So I want to talk a little bit about some other areas that you might consider if you really like what you're seeing here in Edina. But before I talk about those, first, just want to say, if you want to work with us, we would absolutely love to help you buy a home here in Edina, anywhere else in the Twin Cities metro, or sell a house in Edina. Again, we're very good at this. Nobody knows the Twin Cities as well as we do. This is our thing. So go to our website, tothetwincities.com. We have a contact form there that you can fill out in like 30 seconds or less, or shoot us an email directly to info@tothetwincities.com. They all lead to the same spot, so totally up to you how you do it. We just ask that you do, and you know, we look forward to it. We love helping people make this all happen. So what are some other spots that you might want to consider? You know, depending on budget, depending on priorities, depending on proximity to certain things. Edina obviously is a pretty special place, a fairly unique proposition in the Twin Cities, but there are a couple spots that stack up kind of similarly. Wind is picking up here. So first of all, Eden Prairie. Eden Prairie is basically the neighbor to the sort of southwest of Edina. It's very nice, a lot of rolling hills, some really beautiful sort of topography to the area. Also goes up against the river, so you have some really great views. It's a very pretty suburb, albeit quite a bit newer than Edina, right? Most of Eden Prairie's development happened, I don't know, 30 years after a lot of Edina's development happened, so keep that in mind. Newer, a little further out, all those things. And of course, schools are rated very, very well in Eden Prairie, sometimes eking out Edina schools, right? Sometimes it's higher up on the list, so Eden Prairie definitely worth considering. Next up on the list is going to be Minnetonka. And Minnetonka, pretty much the neighbor just to the west of Edina, maybe a little bit further sometimes, depending on where you are. It's a beautiful spot with very, very highly rated schools, large school district, large swath of land, and so really just has a lot in common, a lot of similar characteristics in terms of what you have access to, what people's priorities are, what the city's priorities are. Great schools, tons of commercial amenities, that kind of thing, and there, access to Lake Minnetonka, which is a very, very desirable, beautiful recreational lake, which leads to the next spot, which is Wayzata. Wayzata, very small. Pretty much, if you really like the idea of the northeast quadrant of Edina, then maybe you would want to consider Wayzata. Wayzata probably, I'm sure, is smaller than even that area, and definitely in terms of population, but there are some gorgeous, I mean, some of the prettiest and most impressive and stunning real estate in the state is in Wayzata, and schools are very, very, very highly regarded, typically number 1 or number 2 in the state, so worth considering for that reason as well. Number 4 on the list, Plymouth. Plymouth is more similar to the sort of southwest and maybe northwest quadrants of Edina, very suburban in a classically suburban way, right? Somewhat vanilla, somewhat cookie cutter, but very nice neighborhood, a very nice area with all sorts of different neighborhoods, and really has a lot going for it, of which one of the most desirable aspects is the schools, which again is that Wayzata school district. Top tier schools in the top 50 in the whole country, I believe. And then number 5, Maple Grove. Maple Grove would maybe be a little bit more of a discount version of Edina, which that sounds derogatory. I don't mean it that way. It's affordable, but a very complete suburb where you have everything you would ever need, has very nice stores, and it does have some high-endness to it as well, right? Some of the top tier stores and some, you know, luxury homes, although I don't think of Maple Grove as being a luxury area quite as much. It is very nice, very complete, and kind of has a shininess similar to that of Edina. But wherever you end up or want to end up, we're here to help, and we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.